Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're reacting to episode 3 of series 2 of Vinland Saga. Last episode, we got a little bit more context as to the farm that they're on, as to the master that's running the place. He seems very kind, and I'm hoping it's not a ruse. I'm hoping that he is actually the good man that he presents himself to be. I think he is. And we also got introduced to his son. And then his son wandered off with two drunk people who were like almost disrespecting the farm through the fact that they were like cutting through the wheat fields. And even he was like the wheat. So obviously he cares about the farm, he cares about his father, he cares about his livelihood. He understands, he just wants to be independent. He just wants to kind of prove himself to be this noble figure separated from his father. He doesn't want people to solely see him in conjunction. And I can understand that. He's 17, he's a young boy. And I imagine it's 10 times harder when you have a parent that is renowned and notable and people pay attention and respect to them. They're going to see you as an extension of them. And what happens is that you sort of don't get your own identity and you struggle to find your own identity, and that can be really detrimental, especially to someone so young. So you can kind of understand the frustration and you can get it, but I am a little concerned about him wandering off with these drunk people. I don't think they have his best intentions at heart. The themes of the last episode where the son is going on about not wanting to be used, he's sick of people using him, and I feel like these two people are trying to come across as kind and caring, will listen to your woes and your struggles, come drink with us, but they might be using it as a way to try and leverage some power, or maybe as a way to blackmail and manipulate him. I don't know. I have a worry that he's going to walk slightly into a trap. We also got to see Aina having a little bit of a crush on this mysterious girl. We don't know if she is the daughter of the master of the homestead. He was ahead of her. She was in the car. Either she is his daughter because it's quite a privileged position, or she is a slave that they've recently acquired and they're transporting her. I'm not sure, but I'm sure we'll get more context. But I feel like it would be more dramatic if she is the daughter of the master falling for a slave and the slave is falling for the daughter of the master. I feel like that would pose some friction, potentially, if he doesn't agree to the match. And we also got to see the detriment of the raids from both perspectives. The way that both boys were traumatized by the raids that they saw and have never really recovered from it. It just shows the brutality of war, but also the way in which war impacts the young. It impacts them to such an extent that violence becomes sort of normalized and internalized. And these two boys can't forget that night because of the consequences of it, because it's what led Thorfinn down the path of violence. It's what led Aina to harboring this hatred and anger towards the Danes because of losing his father. So we have two young boys whose defining moment is the raids, essentially, that they see. They embody that trauma within themselves and are unable to forget it, the significance of those raids and what it means and the violence that ensued from it. So you have two boys from opposite sides who are both drastically impacted by raids, who saw unreal levels of violence and destruction, and those memories are hard to get rid of. But it's showing that neither side's exempt from it. Einar is Northern English. He's not exempt from it in the same way that Thorfinn's not exempt from it. Thorfinn witnessed the raid, and it also traumatized him in the same way. He understands that pain, that fear, that suffering. He understands the impact that that violence has on you, especially as a child. They are very similar despite their opposite backgrounds. I hope he does tell Thorfinn about Leif at some point, because he hasn't really told him, but then again, he hasn't really had the chance since he's got here. It's been like one thing after the other, and then the retainers, and then he got distracted by the girl in the car, and then they're talking about their background. So it's going to come up at some point. I hope that this is the spark that Thorfinn needs to start moving forward again, to start having aspirations and dreams again, because he's just kind of dejected and checked out and just accepting that this is the way of life. And it's really hard to watch. It is hard to see this side of him, but this is what Askeladd essentially was warning him about at the end. You haven't thought about what you're going to do after I'm gone. And that's more than clear here. He had no sense of direction. Now Askeladd is gone, his driving purpose disappeared. Now he has no driving purpose. He needs to get one again, and I'm wondering if Leif, and the mention of Leif still looking for him, that hope and tenacity that Leif has in returning him home and fulfilling that promise as part of his honor as a sailor, that will remind Thorfinn that he needs to keep pushing forward too, that the seas may be rough, but he needs to traverse them. He needs to find a way forth. But without further ado, we're going to get into episode 3. Okay, so we're picking up straight away from where we left off. I feel like if he wanted to go home, though, he could have fought a bit harder. They're only leading his horse. Oof. Oh, God. That's a big drop. They're kind of like, what did we get ourselves into? We maybe shouldn't have brought him back. Oh. It is strange being a teenager because you're not a child, but you're also not an adult. You want to strive for independence. You want to strike out and be treated with respect and like you have authority by adults, but the adults don't see you as anything more than a child, so they treat you like a child. They treat you as if you're not capable of making decisions for yourself, and it's because they feel a sense of protection. Some use it as a way of wielding power and authority, but especially with parents, it can be a way of trying to protect your children. You don't quite want to let them go. They're always going to be a child in your eyes, no matter how old they are. But 17 is like right on that cusp of manhood, essentially. It's like, I want to be seen as a man. I want to be seen as independent. I want to be seen as an individual. But you're not going to let me because you still think I'm a kid and you still think I'm not capable of being an adult, of taking responsibility for everything around me. So it's like you're fighting to be seen as independent whilst at the same time being treated like a child. It's almost like this never zone. Like you're not a child, but you're not an adult, but yet you're still treated like a child, but you're not seen as mature enough to be an adult. You're not one or the other. You're kind of in between these two stages of life, and you're receiving conflicting messages of that you need to be independent, but I don't want you to be independent because you're still a child. You need to grow up, but I'm also not going to treat you like a grown-up because you're still a child. So it's a very confusing time for a teenager, because how can you grow up if they don't allow you the opportunity to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes? How can you be independent if they don't allow you to be independent? How can you overcome these conflicting ideas of where you're at in your stage of life? How can you assert your own independence? It's an incredibly confusing time. So I can completely get where they're coming from, because you're not quite a kid anymore, but you're also not quite an adult. And it's trying to establish where you reside within this world, where you can assert your own influence. He's absolutely wasted. Oh, they said today, so you've drank with him before. I would put that sword away, boy. Oh, this isn't good. No, that's so silly. Does he even know how to wield that sword? Probably not. He couldn't draw it out in episode 2, meaning he has no training as a warrior.
私らこれで旦那に食わせてもらってる客人ですから。
That's a bit dramatic. Oh my god, okay. Considering he's around about the same age as Thorfinn and Aina. You're 17! Does anybody? Well, when you throw a tantrum like that, how do you expect people to treat you like an adult? Is he like 5? Like, sir? What a little brat. A rite of passage of what, though? That's not a rite of passage. You make it sound like that's easy. Don't. Oh my god, no. That might be your perspective. He's socializing him into that sense of violence, that it's normalized in their culture. Why do I feel like he's going to try and direct him to Aina or Thorfinn? One of the two. And neither are going to go down easy. Both of them have experience with handling weapons, especially Thorfinn. So hopefully he doesn't push him onto Thorfinn, because that's just incredibly fucking stupid. They obviously don't know Thorfinn's background, but Thorfinn will make short work of everybody here if he truly wanted. I think this idea of a rite of passage is something that Thors would be terrified of. This normalization that to become a man, you need to kill someone, that you need to understand the fragility of the body. You can understand the fragility of the body without actually killing someone, and that doesn't make you a man. It just enhances this idea that you can exert violence on others if you feel it's necessary. It doesn't actually earn you respect or broker any type of independence. It gives you a false sense of confidence, maybe, but depending on the type of person you are, it could also traumatize you. It's not as easy to take a life, and that's what Thors was trying to drum into Thorfinn all along, is that killing someone and going to war doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make you a man. It doesn't make you a warrior. There are other ways to establish yourself than to treat human lives as if they're disposable, as if they're so easily cast aside with no thought or consideration. Thors was heavily against this normalization and socialization of violence, because we see that in series 1. The look of horror on his face when he knows that his son is the one that's beaten all these boys senseless, that he's broken this young boy's arm. There's the other guy that he's talking with, he's more proud of Thorfinn than his own father, because his own father is mortified. This isn't how he raised his son. This isn't the man that he wants his son to become. Their perception of masculinity and manhood is very tainted by this culture of honor and war as a way to achieve Valhalla, as a way of being heroic and notariable. But again, we know that there are ways to be a man and be a warrior without doing what they're trying to socialize and normalize in this young man. Killing someone doesn't command respect. It doesn't earn respect, whereas Thors commanded loyalty and admiration from everyone he met because he commanded respect. When he entered the room, his mere presence and actions were enough to reassert to people that this was a true man, that this was someone that you took note of, that you didn't disrespect, that you paid attention to. He didn't need to ceaselessly kill in order to gain that admiration. We saw that again in series 1. But it's just really sad that he has no one kind of here to reassert to him that killing is not an easy task. It's not an easy thing to do. You will carry that weight with you for the rest of your life, and you should carry that weight with you, because the taking of a human life is no mere thing. It's not something that you can easily forget, and I would be very concerned if you could just shrug it off and pretend it didn't happen. And Thorfinn would be the first to tell anyone here that you can't just forget the first person that you kill, you will always remember that person because he was haunted by the fact that he had to take a human life, but he had no choice. It was do or die for him. He had to do it in order to survive. Whereas this isn't about survival. This isn't about ensuring that you live another day. This is just some arrogant young teenager that wants to be something more than he actually is. And instead of working hard to command respect, to be seen as someone admirable, he wants to take this easy route of a rite of passage as if that's going to solve all the answers. And I guarantee you, it's going to make him aware that it doesn't solve all the answers.
この農場にもいるじゃないですか。
He is. He's going to direct them to Aina and Thorfinn. But Thorfinn's not just going to allow himself to be killed. That's the thing. It'll be almost instinctive. I don't think it would be on purpose, but more a reflexive reaction. Oh, great. The show really likes to emphasize the pissing, doesn't it? He's having a nightmare. Is it about his dad? His dad or Askeladd? Possibly his dad. Bless him. He's traumatized. If only you'd known the things that this poor boy has seen. Oh, so she must be a slave then. Or maybe she's not. Maybe she's just using the well. I don't know. It's hard to know.
私はもう済みましたから。
いや、もう小高を洗ったところでどうにも寝れやしませんので。
まあ、そんなこと。
He's so sweet. He's smitten. His heart. It's full of love.
いや、大丈夫です。全然病気とかじゃない。
胸が騒ぐ。
Because trauma doesn't just go away overnight. It lives inside of you.
イングランド。言葉がお上手だから、私てっきりノルドの人かと。
はい。私の故郷のものは私を含め。
Ah,
みんな
settlers.
先祖がノルド人でして、訛りがひどいので、お嬢様にはお聞きづらいかと存じますが。
あ、そうですね。失礼しました。私、自分の心情を言いませんでしたね。
Are we gonna know, like, what her status is? Is she a servant? Is she part of the family?
旦那様のご息女様では。
いいえ、違うんですよ。
No? His wife?
私はあなたと
Oh, a slave.
旦那様のおそば使いをしています。
Is she the woman that all the retainers are trying to get with? And she keeps refusing them?
何者だ、あいつら。剣なんかぶら下げて。仇じゃない。
この農場に常駐してる防衛戦力。用心棒だ。
Protect the farm from invaders and pirates, I guess.
素敵なお顔だと思いますよ。
なんだ
He's so cute.
いや、すいません。
He's such a lover boy. He's a bit like, I don't trust what's going on. With it being the master's son, they can't really fight back. He's technically,
さあ、若様。ズバーン
well, not
と
his
言ってみ
property,
よう
but his
ズバーン
father's
と
property. It's the fact they're treating them as if they're not people is absolutely disgusting.
若様が大人になるための儀式だ。死んでくれ。
No. Why should they? What authority do you have to command them to die? There's more than one way to become a man. Killing someone doesn't make you a man.
何の罪があって俺たちがそんな目に遭わなきゃならないんだよ。
罪なんかねえよ。ただ単
If
に
he
お前の
wants respect, he should
命を
earn
奪う
it.
じゃないっていうそれだけのことさ。
He's not their owner though. His father is.
こちらのオルマル様んちの奴隷だ。
His family, his father, not
光栄
him.
に思え。
Oh my god, what if we see Thorfinn disarm him? Like Thor's disarmed Asgard's army.
お父様が怖いんですか？
Stop winding him up. I feel like they're trying to like manipulate and goad him.
別に何も怖くはねえ。
じゃあやりましょうよ。ズババ
No,
ーンと
he doesn't want to. Leave him alone.
逃げろ。
大丈夫でと。
何やってんだ。行けトルフィー。旦那に知らせろ。
Oh, please don't let Aina die. This is morbid as fuck.
めんどくせえ。俺が切られますよ。
Oh, Thorfinn.
そいつは仕事に戻して
He's
ください。
really
私が切られます。
lost his drive for life, hasn't he? He's just completely dejected, willing to accept death. It means releasing him from this. Thorfinn. My poor boy. The fact that he's willing to sacrifice his own life for Aina. Who are you?
おい、じじい。
Who is this?
じじい。俺の朝飯は。なら飯は出さん。自分でなんとかせい。くそじじい。飯なんか。
Is he wrong?
めんどくせえ。しょうがね。帰るか。
He's an old man. You're young. Cook for yourself, for fuck's sake.
私がオルマル様に切られます。エイナルは仕事に戻
I feel like he says that, but his body is going to do something else. Just out of reflex. Because he's a warrior trained and honed, so I feel like he's just not going to be able to allow it to happen. He's going to try and protect himself instinctively.
トルフィン君。君ね、自分の言った言葉の意味わかっ
He knows.
切られるって死ぬってことなんだ。
He's not going to die.
そうですね。
Again, I think it's going to be instinctive. I think maybe he intends to, but he can't quite bring himself to do it.
聞いたか諸君。たまにいるんだよね。こういうやつ。
He's going to do his dad proud, I think. He's going to disarm
見
him.
過ごすわけにはいかないのよね。なあ、トルフィン君。俺たち戦士の扱う商品って死だ。
Okay.
どんなやつでも死ぬのは怖い。断言しよう。どんなやつでも。
He's not.
他人の死さえ怖がってる。
うるせえ。怖がってるのか。
Whereas Thorfinn's not
それ
scared
で
to
いい
die.
んだ。怖いからこそ価値がある。
He didn't even flinch. He's not scared of death.
ああ、もう。
Oh, is he going to put a stop to all of this?
おい、チンピラども。チェ、バカども。またゾロ面倒なことやってんな。
Is he in charge?
くしょー。人でなしども。
おれ、
Oh my god,
命乞いしてみろ。
Thorfinn!
素直になれ。トルフィン。
But he's not scared. That's the thing. What the fuck, man?
ほう。まばたきもしねえか。
Because he's looked death in the eye and escaped it numerous times. Of course he's not scared.
なんで死ぬのを怖がらなくちゃいけないんですか。死にたくないから生きてるんですか。生きてると何かいいことはありますか。
Oh, Thorfinn.
俺はなかったよ。
He sees death as preferable to life. He'd rather die.
今まで生きてきていいこと一つもなかったよ。
He's so dejected and lost. My poor baby. Oh
次は目だ。怖がれ。 やめろキツネ
What kind of weird power trip is this guy on that he wants someone to be scared of him? Even he's fucking scared. Because someone that commands respect has shown up.
ひでえなこりゃ
Respect and authority, and now he's shitting himself.
キツネ
You're not as powerful as you think you are. This was all a power trip. Good.
アナグマ
You next. What a man.
説明
Ooh. He's very good looking. Even though I berated him earlier for being lazy and not cooking and just allowing his old grandpa to do everything for him, but ooh, he is quite good looking. Can't wait to know more about him. But Thorfinn is just so very lost, so very traumatized. Everything he's seen and experienced and gone through is just weighing down on him. He can't remember how good life was because he was so young when it happened. He probably doesn't have very clear memories of it all. He'll maybe remember bits here and there, but nothing clear enough that he can cling on to it as a way forward, as a sign of hope. Again, I still think this message that Leif is looking for him could be this way of giving him hope, reasserting that there is a direction, but also this new guy coming in that marveled at him at the fact that he didn't flinch, didn't pull away, might help Thorfinn come to terms with everything that he's seen and experienced and gone through. I have a feeling that I know now where series 2 is going to go, sort of trajectory wise. I feel like it's going to deal with the aftermath of Thorfinn's experiences in series 1, the mental trauma and the psychological distress that he needs to wrestle away from. That he needs to pull himself out of the depths and aspire for something to find a sense of purpose and direction. That there has to be a way of coming to terms with everything he's been through in order to mentally recover. So I think this is going to be his journey of recovery, his journey of finding purpose and hope and moving towards a better future for himself. But of course, we're going to see a couple of episodes where like he is in this dark place, where he is incapable of seeing the beauty of what life can offer, of how life is what we make it. And if we just accept that death is the only outcome, that death is the best resource, then of course you're never going to look for what life can offer you, what life can provide you. Because of everything he's gone through, he thinks that life is just pain and suffering and violence and war and conflict and nothing else, nothing more. Everyone he cares for dies. Everyone he respects and admires dies. He's seen treason, mutiny, betrayal, endless death, endless bloodshed, and he's now at that point of, what's the point of going on if life is just consistently like this? I don't want to live in a world like this. He needs to find the beauty in life, but he hasn't hit that point yet. He hasn't had the opportunity to see what life can offer. But I think that's what this series is going to wrestle with, is Thorfinn learning to love life again, learning to find hope and purpose and a way of establishing an identity away from bloodshed and violence, of becoming the man that Thor's always wanted him to be. It's this journey from dejection to hope, this journey from not fearing death and embracing the idea of death to loving life and valuing the sanctity of life and admiring the beauty of what the world has to offer you and give to you. I think that's sort of where our journey is going to take us. It's going to be a journey of forgiveness, of recovery, and I would say redemption, but not redemption in that Thorfinn needs to redeem himself somehow. He doesn't. He was a child in series 1. Everything he did was for the sake of survival, but more so redemption in terms of maybe redeeming himself because he feels that he's let his father down, because he's not lived by the philosophy that his father wanted him to live by, that he's foregone the lessons that his father was trying to teach him. But would he be Thor's son if he didn't go about things in a wayward way. No, because even when he has visions of his father and that conversation in series 1 where he's saying to him, like, give up this journey of revenge, and he then accepts that Thorfinn's too stubborn, that he can't just tell him to do something because Thorfinn has to learn it for himself. Can't just be told to him, he has to learn from it, he has to grow from it. But yeah, I think that's where this series is going to go. At first I thought maybe he was going to disarm him, but he really is just so dejected and lost that he was willing to be killed because he doesn't see the point of going on, doesn't see the purpose. But something is going to give him purpose, something's going to give him drive. And I think that's going to come from this figure that we've seen in the camp that admires him, and his refusal to blink even when being sliced multiple times, that he didn't buckle or yield. And maybe from Aina telling him about Leif, that Leif is still looking for him, that Leif has never given up hope, even if Thorfinn has. And that admirable sense of direction and hope and wanting to fulfill that promise might reignite something in Thorfinn, might spark something in him, that familiar sensation he had when he spoke to him back when he was in prison in York. But we will see. But just the poor boy is out of it and lost, and it breaks my heart. It really does. I just want him to be happy, but I think this is going to be the journey towards his happiness, which means we have to go through some rough patches before we get there. So it's going to probably be very hard couple of episodes and upsetting and sad, but maybe we'll get some moments of joy and light. And I don't know, I was worried that something was going to happen to Aina, that he might accidentally get stabbed. But yeah, I love that the guy was on a fucking power trip, that Fox was saying, if you don't have fear, it spoils the product, so therefore you have to fear us, that's what we want. And when he can't get it from Thorfinn, he's getting even more frustrated, to the point that he's having to do more and more damage to him. But then all of that fell away the minute that guy walked into the camp, because he commands respect, he commands loyalty. And that's what being a man is, not what Fox is presenting it to be, not violence, not bloodshed, not killing someone, but admiration, loyalty, kindness. All of those are strengths that Fox lacks, but this man seems to possess, because he's respected, he seems very fair, he seems very just. From the brief glimpse that we've got, in that he didn't just strike Badger, he asked Badger to explain. And he could have done far worse to Fox, and he didn't. So big ups to him, have respect. But it's definitely just funny to see this bravado fall away, this fear that radiates through him. And you realize that everyone's afraid of something. It might not be death, but everyone has a fear. And his fear is this captain, because this captain radiates power, radiates authority. This captain is everything that he wants to be. He is the authoritative, manly figure. And no amount of killing anyone will give you that sense of power, that sense of admiration, that you can strike fear into someone from the merely looking at you. So Fox may claim killing someone and striking fear into them is a way of becoming a man, but that man didn't have to kill anyone, didn't have to kill Fox, didn't have to threaten to kill him in order to strike fear, because there are different ways of being a man. I'm glad that we got a bit more context about her being the personal attendant. I wasn't sure. It was very confusing. I thought she was the master's daughter. I'm glad that Aina sort of clarified that, because I was a bit confused. But what that means is that they could be together. And there was a girl that keeps rejecting the retainers. So I wonder if that's then her. I got confused. I thought they were the retainers, but they're not the retainers. They are the bodyguards. Meaning, even though everything seems peaceful now, it's hinting that things may not always be that way. That in the past there may have been conflicts, there may have been invasions, especially because this is such like a vast, fertile land. There's so much food, there's likely a lot of wealth here, that they have to protect this from anyone wanting to take it for themselves. So that could hint that we're going to see potentially a conflict on the farm itself at some point, where somebody maybe tries to gain this wealth for themselves. But again, we're still very early on. still only 3 episodes in, so not a lot I can really discuss in relation to where I think the story is going to go other than what I have been. And my little analysis of Thorfinn and his lack of fear of death is tied with all the events in series 1 and losing 2 father figures and this idea that life is only suffering and pain. So I'm not going to reiterate that any more than I have, but thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye!